Tonight on Joy News Prime, Joy Prime Business economist says World Bank's forecast of 5.5% expansion of Ghanaian economy in 2022 should reflect in job creation.
Everything seems to be hinged on the increase in commodity prices, and I want to see the drivers of growth to be from areas that can create jobs.
Also, Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana sides with Russian government absolving itself of any blame for the current challenges bringing the global food value chain to its knees. We'll hear from its chief executive, who says Ghana's over-reliance on export is a major cause of the current supply challenges.
We need to make easy access to agriculture financing for most of our players, and also redesign what we now have, which is more production rather than to have market-oriented policies.
Plus, more oil marketing companies expected to reduce prices at the pumps. We have all these stories and more lined up for you in this hour. First, though, we're going to be beginning with commodities. Tonight, the World Bank has affirmed its forecast of 5.5% expansion of the Ghanaian economy this year. That's higher than Sub-Saharan Africa's average of 3.6%. That's according to its latest Africa Polls report ahead of the International Monetary Fund and World Bank spring meetings. However, it is worried about the country's debt sustainability problems, which it says could erode gains going forward. Charles Nixon-Yeboah has the rest of the story.
The World Bank said higher commodity prices are projected to support both recovery in the extractive sectors and boost export and fiscal revenues. This will help ease some pandemic-induced fiscal pressures and external financing needs, but added that the moderate performance of economic growth reflects debt management problems that are still looming on the economy, with few prospects for improvement. The Bretton Woods institution also commented on the electronic transaction levy, whose implementation will take off from May 1st. It said though the tax is expected to increase the tax base by generating about $1.1 billion in revenue, these efforts are not enough to address the country's debt sustainability problems. Again, revenue from the mining sector remains weak, while pressing needs for government support continue to weigh on public finances. The World Bank concluded that Ghana's economy will slow down in 2024, lower than pre-pandemic levels of about 7%.
Well, economist Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie says the World Bank's forecast of 5.5% expansion of Ghana's economy this year should reflect in job creation. He, however, charged governments to leverage the agri sector as a key driver to the country's growth.
Everything seems to be hinged on the increase in commodity prices, and I want to see the drivers of growth to be from areas that can create jobs, because you can grow your GDP, and if little employment is created, then you haven't done much. So the areas that can create jobs, we know the agri sector, the industrial sector. That is why I want to see the agri and the industrial sector taking a greater share of GDP. Then if the source of growth is from these two areas and also the digital space, then we are highly confident that there will be better lives ahead. So I want to relate the source of growth to employment generation. For me, that is the most critical, that's the most important. And according to the World Bank, they also talked about the debt sustainability issues confronting the country. And, you know, we have talked about the borrowings by government during COVID and all that. But we also know by the data that before COVID, the public debt was also on the rise. The interest payment was around 33% of revenue. It was the second or the third highest in the world at that time. So the public debt has been a challenge as a country. We have been growing our public debt more than growing our domestic revenue. In other words, since we finished the HIPPY relief initiative in 2006, the growth rate of revenue has outpaced the growth rate of borrowing.
On the other hand, the Economics Intelligence Unit, in its latest report on Ghana, has projected strong economic recovery for the rest of the year. Meantime, there's more reactions to its projection that the cedi will end the year at 7 cedis 87 pesos to the dollar. Chief Finance Officer at the Valley View University, Dr. William Supra, says the cedi will end the year worse off than the projected figure by the EIU. Speaking on Marketplace, Dr. Supra cited capital flight of external investors and the over-dependence on imports as key factors for the cedi's decline.
But our balance of trade is positive. Last year we made $6.3 million in terms of trade. But what is the problem with the economy, as Professor Lord Mensah mentioned, is our interest payment. So you see, Prof. Mensah did the categorization of people who go for foreign currencies. Between the businesses, the trade balance gives a positive impact. But when it comes to government paying its debt to international loans they have taken outside the country, that is where the problem is coming. Because government must have to go and look for more dollars to be able to pay these debts when they are due. So if you look at our current situation, almost 37% of Ghana's debt we are holding are in the hands of foreign investors. And most of them are going to liquidate their bonds. The pressure will still come that government must go and look for the dollars to be able to pay these people. So that is probably their assertion of 8.87 is fair, but it may go up to 8 because if you look at the trend, we went up to 8.2 and then we came back. We are now going back. Central bank cannot be all the time be putting almost $500 million on the market. They need to be depleting our reserves. So the balance is not very clear for us as a country. But I agree with them. An average of 7.8 and 7.87.
There's also a professor with the University of Ghana Business School, Lord Mensah, is calling for a review of the import regime and external bond expectations if the cedi is to end the year well against major currencies.
Certainly, we have to reorient the economy to be less of import. You know, we have countries that, you know, there is a balance between what they import and what they export. And by so doing, these countries have stable, you know, what we call it, stable currency. And I can name several of them. But, you know, the question is, what type of goods do you import? Are they goods that you can easily produce in your environment? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. If there are goods that you can easily produce in your environment, have you been putting down policies to work towards that? I think that is where we are not doing well. Because if you take, for instance, we know very well that car parts, we cannot produce them in this country. But what are we doing to minimize car parts importation in this country?
Sure.
Are we taking the bull by the horn by investing hugely on our roads so that we can get good roads to avoid regular importation of car parts that is coming as a result of, you know, bad roads that we have? So effectively, we need to, reorient and then look at, you know, possibly our expenditure, even where it goes. You know, if you look at the budget expenditure and the sectors that are the expenditure is going are able to build up into your foreign exchange, you know, controls. And that is when we can say that yes, we are putting up, you know, structures, or we are.
Now, the Russian government has absolved itself of any blame for the current challenges bringing the global food chain to its knees. According to the Russian embassy in Ghana, the current hardship is as a result of high demand and rising prices of food, raw materials and transport services as part of post-COVID-19 recovery. It argues that the current situation in the agri space is not a result of happenings within the last 2 months regarding the Russia-Ukraine invasion, but due to a steady trend of happenings on the global stage in the last 2 years. And as you could see on your screen there, a tweet, of course, that's the notice that the embassy laid out to the public, in essence, stating the fact that the embassy has taken notice of the increased number of news articles, somewhat accusing Russia of all negative trends in agri markets, in gloomy prospects in terms of access to food and huge losses of farmers. Of course, these news, according to the embassy, are commonly lack of any substantive analysis and simply attribute the current crisis to Russia's actions in Ukraine. That's an excerpt of a tweet that the Russian embassy in Ghana laid out there. Of course, meanwhile, the chief executive officer of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Ghana, Anthony Morrison, says he agrees with the Russian government to a large extent, saying that it is not to blame for the recent global food crisis. According to him, Ghana's over-reliance on exports coupled with low volumes of local food production are the reasons for the current challenges.
If our agriculture sector was doing well, where we are involving the local content policy, local materials in our production, cost of production is low, and also our farmers are able to access credit, our farmers are able to access high-quality seeds, our farmers are able to access mechanization facilities, irrigation, tractors, combine harvesters, and also if our farmers are able to reduce the drudgery on the farms, and also finally, if our farmers are able to pull a truck of maize or farm produce within a day from the farm to the main gate, to the main street, we will be doing ourselves a better in this sector than we are experiencing now. So I agree with him somehow. It also depends on how well positioned our Ministry of Food and Agriculture are with regards to some global intelligence, how to be prepared more or less. We're talking about the agriculture pandemic mechanisms, intervention mechanisms. So right. Yes, we have put ourselves into those situations. We need to develop our agro-industrial strategy mechanism where we produce to feed factories and factories to consumers directly. If that is done, that's fine. We need to make easy access to agriculture financing for most of our players, and also redesign what we now have, which is more production rather than to have market-oriented policies. And also government needs to take itself out of the agriculture trade. Governments have no business providing subsidies. What we need to do is to make sure that we develop and provide the critical essentials that farmers need. Now government can't even pay farmers who suppliers who have supplied fertilizers and seeds. So government absolutely have no business even importing tractors.
Marketing companies are expected to reduce their prices at the pumps from today. Now, this is in line with the review of price of petroleum products on the market every 2 weeks by OMCs. George Rafi has more.
Total Oil took the lead last Saturday by reducing the price of petrol to 9 cedis 30 pesos per litre, while diesel on the other hand has been increased and it's going for 10 Ghana cedis 45 pesos per litre. Sources close to Total Oil have indicated that the increase in the price of diesel has more to do with their cost of service going up, a move that forced them to increase their margin a little bit. This is despite the reduction in the price that the bulk oil distribution companies are selling to the oil marketing firms in the country. But based on what we have picked up from some of the bulk oil distribution firms, diesel is expected to go down by some 26 pesos per litre, while petrol will go down by just under 1%. However, some consumers have already expressed concerns about the expected margin of reduction, as some were looking forward to a bigger reduction than what has been put out. This is based on the city's performance over the past 2 weeks and Bank of Ghana's extension of dedicated dollars to the bulk oil distribution firms to aid imports. We should also not forget about the stable prices when it comes to finished petroleum products on the international market over the past week.
The Registrar General's Department has increased the penalty for late filing of annual returns effective the 30th of June this year. A statement says the penalty has been increased from 450 cedis to 500 cedis. And of course, as you can see on your screen there, the increment will apply to all companies, namely public-private companies limited by shares, public-private companies limited by guarantee, which are churches, schools, unions, associations, clubs, etc., and private unlimited companies. These companies are to file their financial statement together with their annual returns at a cost of 50 cedis each year. When it comes to external companies, they are to submit their accounts to the department at a cost of $600 per year, or in default, pay a penalty of $750 in addition to fees for all defaulted years. Partnerships and sole proprietorships are to renew the businesses at a cost of 50 cedis and 25 cedis each year, respectively. When it comes to sole proprietorship owners, they can electronically renew their business names by dialing the short code 222, that's *222#, and select the LGD and follow the prompt to make payment of renewal using the Ghana.gov payment platform. So that's a bit of an announcement for business owners out there from the Registrar General's Department. Away from that, the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, and government will soon launch 20,000 affordable housing units. Now, this is one of major steps to help bridge the rising housing deficit, which is estimated at a little above 2 million units as we speak. Here is President of GREDA, Patrick Ebobonfo.
As for GREDA, we have an agreement with government. We signed an agreement with government, which is being reviewed to make it more functional. We signed an agreement for 20,000 housing units. It's being reviewed as we speak. And before long, we should be launching it. So we aim to price these houses, 3 bedrooms at around 300,000 Ghana cedis for 3 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms around 250,000 Ghana cedis, and so on and so forth. So these are super affordable houses. But the idea is that government will provide the land, services, put in the electricity, water and all. Then we will come and then build the vertical, projections. So that's what we want to do, yeah. And on our own, we are going to do our own greater estates as well. And the prices will be very competitive, yeah.
Mosaic Bet Ghana has said it is giving back to its customers through the Hit the Highest Odds promotion. According to the operations manager, Gilbert Edembebli, this is to foster the relationship between the company and patrons. He entreats them to take advantage of the promotion and win more prizes. He was speaking at the launch of the promo.
As part of the promotion, players will have the chance of winning prizes such as headphones, mobile phones, and an ultimate prize of a Nissan vehicle. According to the operations manager of Mozart Bet Ghana, Gilbert Edembebel, the company is looking to compete with other large betting organizations in the country by providing greater options for its customers. Mr. Bebel assured that customers will get the gadget after winning.
This promotion is about a way of rewarding our players. It's a promotion just to say thank you to our players, to tell them that we have come to the market and that we are giving back to them actually what they have given to us in this few 8 to 9 months we've been in operation. I think that what makes this promo unique is that this is the first time I think a betting company that has been in existence within the 8 months of operations is giving this payback to its customers. We think that we are very grateful to them. They've been loyal to us since they got into the market, and for us we think that it's a brand that has come to stay.
The country manager of the company, Nebutsa Marinko, stated that the company wants to encourage healthy competition among its players.
It's about competition. We always think that we need to bring more to our players. Not only excitement of betting, but give them something more. And this competition is all about that. So they can bet, they can win, but they can even win more. They can win headphones or iPhone, or finally they can win main prize, that is Nissan Kicks.
This is the first time such offers have been made by any betting operator in Ghana during the first 8 months of existence. To begin playing, players must take out their phone and register an account with MozartBet.
Well, it's now time to get updated on how best to invest your money and spend what's left of it in today's edition of Money Lab.
Good day to you. Thanks for joining us again on the Money Lab. We looked at operational risk in our previous session. Today we'll look at liquidity risk. Now, liquidity risk has to do with the ability to quickly convert securities to cash to meet certain obligations. Now, a security is deemed to be very liquid if it can be easily and quickly converted to cash, and called illiquid if it is not so to easily convert to cash.
And that'll be it for Prime Business with me, Charles Ayitey, but I will leave you with international business news, after which we have Prime Sports. Do stay with Joy News.